biggest deal on the biggest side of town. You know why? I got all that big $10 board with a golden spoon. All the ability, all the looks. 4 times the world champion. 4 times. Limousine, bright lights, big cities, pretty ladies. 5 times the world champion.
Trying to be a legend in the rap game, like Ric Flair was to wrestling. Ain't no question, I'm trying to be a big name. Got them laying on the mat where I left them. Everybody want to be rich and famous. They want a house on the hill, no payments. I've been working hard.
Welcome to Future Entertainment, our brand new show, Monday Night Mayhem. And I'm alongside my co-host for Future Entertainment, Future Podcast. Oh, see, I messed up. Future Wrestling Podcast, right here in Future Entertainment. See, I only mess up every once in a while, ladies and gentlemen, but we're back live. Hey, I gotta mess up one time. I mean, how many shows have I done in the last 72 hours?
Yes, that is very true.
So, but I'm alongside my good friend, Matt Tennant. Sir, welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank you to everyone who's joined us in the chat, if anyone is. I don't know, I can't see it. And welcome to our brand new Monday night show.
Yes, Monday Night Mayhem, and Tater Snake's already in the chat. He says, brother,
Whoop whoop.
I'll Ric Flair 1999.
Logan, I did not hear that. It sounded like you were a drunk man trying to speak to me.
That's what he typed. Like, it's literally STE-DFHVJDNC. I guess that's the promo for Hulk Hogan, since it says brother.
Fine.
That
We'll
works.
go with that.
But Matt, please let the
Yes.
great listeners, including Tater Snake, know where they can check you out so they can bug you about Chad Gable.
You can find me on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant, and you can find me over on the Hibiki TMD with Travis doing Union Smack again.
Yes, Union Smack, and it's a quote, you Brit.
Son of a bitch.
I don't even have to be a heel on this fucking show anymore. I'll just have Tater Snake in the chat. For fuck's sake,
I'm gonna be the first one laughing when WWE release Chad Gable by the end of the year.
Good God, you're... Tater, it's not me. But, ladies and gentlemen, Monday Night Mayhem is a brand new show that we are showcasing the damage that was done to WCW and also giving our perspective on the resurrection and stuff like that. This isn't telling you about a resurrection for WCW. This is our version of the resurrection of WCW. And I
Yes.
take issue with Matt being on this program. Lemmy's didn't watch WCW. Lemmy's?
Limeys. I think he's meant to be saying Limeys. And we did watch WCW if we stayed up late enough, which I did because I never had a life. And if Tater thinks he can do any better, then on you come.
Oh, Jesus. Well, no shots to you, Tater, but at least he has a mic. But I'm a Chad Gable fan, so hell, forget it. But we're not here for Chad Gable. Come on now. We are here for the WCW show. And
Yes.
Matt, I'm going to let you know that the very first segment of the night is what killed WCW.
Right, well, how long have we got?
How long did we got? He just asked me that question.
I mean, it's true. Like, there are so many factors that killed WCW. You know, there were so many different things, big things, small things. For me, one of them was the NWO. That's going to be my first one, I think.
Oh, it wasn't Vince Russo.
Do you know what? We can't blame it all on Russo. We can't.
No, nobody can at this point in time. Even Cody Rhodes can't.
Exactly. I mean, like our good friend Travis pointed out on Twitter, like the problems existed before Russo got there. I mean, he didn't help them along. He could have done a lot more, you know, for me, Vince Russo, to steady the ship. Especially Logan, you know, this is a man who's taken credit openly for Stone Cold Steve Austin for The Rock in the Attitude Era. You know, even though he didn't create them, he's taken credit for them. So a man who takes credit for something as magnificent and huge as that, you would have thought, had the ability to take a struggling promotion like WCW were when he was put in charge, and turn it around. You'd have thought he would have been able to take 3 or 4 of those stars and turn them into an Austin type character that would have brought the fans running. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's just everyone's got a gripe about Vince Russo. Everybody's got a gripe about Eric Bischoff, I'm sure. But
what did Eric Bischoff do that really hurt WCW? To me, there was really nothing that hurt WCW that he did.
I mean, I'm going to get into something in a little bit to do with the NWO. I mean, I think he could have managed them better, but I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I think Russo didn't help, but the problems were there long before he got there. So my first is going to be the NWO. It was in 1996. It was revolutionary. WCW made it their meal ticket, and for a long time it was fine. You had they were riding off that Hulk Hogan heel turn for God knows how long, and then they shit the bed with it. Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, you have to be pretty fucking stupid to mess up something like that. If I was booking the NWO, and possibly a lot of other people, you keep it secluded. You keep it to 4 or 5 main talent. And then when 2 of them main talent have run the course, when people are bored with them, you swap them 2 talent out for 2 new talent who can profit from what's already happened, who can learn under the guise of Hulk Hogan, and who can make it. But the NWO and WCW didn't do that. And I was astounded, can I just say, to learn this earlier today. NWO had 62 members over the course of 4-ish years. That is ridiculous, Logan.
62,
and we're not talking about 62 brilliant wrestlers here. We're talking, a lot of padding, if you like. Fake Sting, Virgil. They had Virgil in the NWO. What the fuck are you thinking? It's like Buff Bagwell.
Virgil, Buff the stuff.
Why? Oh,
they didn't 69 it at least, so.
Oh, I suppose that's true. But why would you look at a WWF roster and go, yeah, we need Virgil off of that?
Virgil? Virgil?
Yeah, Virgil. They repackaged him as Vincent. I mean, it didn't work. He was still shit. You had an old IRS as Michael Wall Street in there. Didn't work. He was too old to work by this point. Big Bubba Rogers was the big boss man. Dennis Rodman, Conan, Rick Rude in 1997. You can see where it's Louis Spicolli, Dusty Rhodes. Who else was there? The Disciple, Disco Inferno. Stevie Ray, David Flair, the Harris Brothers. And I could go on naming them, but I won't. You did all these great, not by a fucking long shot, all these worthless... I'm tripping over myself
NWO,
now.
the jobber section.
Yeah, the jobber section, exactly.
Oh, Tater Snake has a question.
Go on.
Are you insinuating, Vincent, that Disciple and Stevie Ray aren't magnificent wrestlers?
I'm insinuating that they were piss poor wrestlers.
And he said you named my 3 in all caps.
Oh. What's that mean?
I don't know. Tater, are you insinuating that they were magnificent wrestlers? Hang on. You mean to tell me Stevie Ray was... I mean, Stevie Ray was good in the tag team.
Yeah, the thing with Stevie Ray is he was a tag team wrestler. When you broke him up from Booker T, when he joined the NWO, regardless of how brief his stint was before he went back to Harlem Heat 2000, a little mention for Travis there, he was shit. I'm sorry, but he was not a singles wrestler.
Well, there goes that interview. Fucking man. He's actually friends with me on Facebook, by the way.
Is he?
Yes, sir.
Stevie Ray, you are the greatest professional wrestler to ever live.
Stevie Ray is an unsung hero at the commentary table.
Oh my god. Fine. Anyway, where was I, Logan? Oh yeah, the NWO.
My bad.
Yeah, you had this brilliant premise, and then you just ruined it by putting in wrestlers that you just had nothing else to do with, and that's the first sign of trouble. They split it into Christ knows how many separate factions. Wolfpack, Black and White, NWO Japan at one point I seem to remember there being, NWO Elite, NWO 2000. It was too much. You know, it was too much. There was too much dead wood in there. No one cared about them by the end. And then what did WCW do? Okay, you've killed off one of your best chances of surviving. You know, you've killed off one of the sole reasons that you beat WWE/WWF in the ratings for years. So do you learn? Do you rebuild and, you know, move on? No, of course you don't. What did WCW do? They went and tried to recreate it in the New Blood, and they replaced 3 of the biggest stars in wrestling, and, you know, from '96 with has-beens and talent that yet again they had no idea for. It was doomed from the moment Eric Bischoff decided to put NWO above everything, you know?
Yeah, and I can say this. I think, in my opinion, the reason why they put 62 guys in that faction was to try to get them over in some way. But you can't get 62 guys, women or men at that, in a faction to get them over. I'm sorry.
Exactly. I mean, you can't. I mean, thank God they weren't all there at like the same time, because that would have just been horrendous. But even 62 men over the course of 4 years, it's just ridiculous. Honestly, it's no wonder this group failed.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine how much better, right, and how much different the wrestling landscape might have been had you started off with Hogan, Nash and Hall, then you added 6 who went on to become X-Pac, just had them for a year and a half, then, I don't know, swapped out Hall and Nash for another upcoming tag team. You know, stick to what the Four Horsemen did in the late 80s. It worked. You know, you don't need to change that formula. But they did, because they thought they knew better. And they were on a roll. You know, they all had big dicks because they were winning in the ratings. And I'm sorry, they just shit the bed with it.
Tater says he called women yaks 10 out of 10.
If he likes. To be honest, at this point, I have no idea what Tater's talking about.
I think he called them women yaks or something.
Okay, when did he call women yaks?
You did.
When?
I don't know, I guess.
Well, I'd like him to tell me, because I don't think I've even referred to women at this point.
I don't know. Unless you're talking about Virgil, I don't know.
Well, I might have been talking about Virgil. But do you know what? Casting my mind back to the last 5 minutes, I don't even remember saying the word yak. So if Tater could enlighten me there, then be much appreciated. Shall we carry on, Logan, while we're waiting for Tater to get back to us?
Of course.
What's your first point on why WCW failed?
My first point is basically what yours was the NWO, but to give a different one, I would have to say it wasn't Vince Russo completely, but he had something to do with it. Like, okay, WCW hired him because he was so big when he was with the WWE, WWF and all that, and what he did with the company and the storylines that he did and stuff like that. What he did was great. Yes, he did some great stuff, but then he also did some bad stuff.
Yes. That's an understatement, but yes, he did. I think Vince Russo loved the idea of taking over from like Bischoff, and he loved the idea of being in charge of the NWO. But in reality, when he got there, I think maybe he was opposed on all fronts. Like maybe he had some good ideas, but other people around him said no. You know, that sort of thing. But the impression you get is that Vince Russo had this big, Vince Russo had this lovely model, and he turned her into a dog. Is that wrong?
No. I agree with you on that. We do have somebody new in the chat that I've never seen before in the chat, but Hey Man, Nice Shot is in the chat.
Okay.
And
hello to you. Welcome.
Veggie. Oh, Veggie's in here. I'm here for the tater. Okay. Welcome, Veggie. Welcome.
Everyone wants some of that tater.
Master Veggie, Tater says in the chat. Welcome, guys. Veggie isn't big, I don't think, on pro wrestling. But, hey, why not?
Yeah, everyone's welcome. More the merrier.
Hey Man, Nice Shot says, don't smile yet. I guess I don't know any context or anything to add. The only Stevie Ray I know is Stevie Ray Vaughan. I don't know how to say that.
And I don't know who that is, so there you go. But welcome. You're more than welcome here.
I'm talking about the black pro wrestler. A little bit different. A little bit, he also says. Hey man. But Veggie, welcome to the chat, sir. What he says, what's up? I said, we're doing our thing here on the channel, keeping things big. Hey, you got a like out of it, even if I don't know anything about fancy pants, wrestle strap belts.
Believe me,
thank you, Veggie.
Fancy pants.
I don't care. I don't care that you're here, sir. I'm glad. Hell, Veggie could pop up on Wiki and just ask us a random ass WCW question that, hell, we might not even know. So hey,
there's a good chance of that, actually. Right, Logan. Point 2.
Point 2 for me is too much talent. In my opinion, there's just too much talent and not enough storylines to go around. And I think that also killed WCW in the long run.
I can't disagree with that. They had a roster of what seemed like thousands. I know it wasn't, but that's what it seemed like every week. And you add to that the jobbers they used to bring in, and some of the part-time talent. It was way too much. But at the same time, Kevin Nash's booking didn't help anything. Travis, I was talking to this with Travis earlier, and he said he was right when he said Kevin Nash sort of pulled the plug on WCW. That they put him as their head booker. He was the shits. He booked himself to go over Goldberg, to end Goldberg's streak, which was a mistake. He booked matches to suit himself and his friends. And basically, when you've put a wrestler in charge of booking, especially a wrestler that was still active at the time, then you're just asking for trouble.
Oh, no doubt. If you put in a guy like Kevin Nash.
Yeah. So thanks for that, Kevin. WCW was on life support. Thanks for pulling out that plug.
So I'm guessing Matt's blaming Kevin Nash completely.
Yeah, Kevin. Fuck you. Right.
There goes that fucking interview.
Am I just ruining our future on this channel?
Well, damn. He's already trying to ruin the future of wrestling podcast.
That's Stevie Ray and Kevin Nash out of the question.
Jeez, we're gonna be actually calling fucking. We're actually gonna end up having to call Virgil to come on.
Oh my! What's that clamoring? Is it Travis wanting to do the interview? Right.
Travis wouldn't show up. Hey
Travis.
Man, Nice Shot says, when's the ya poppy strap match. Tater says, LOL, this Sunday on Uncensored.
I'm glad they're having a ball in the chat.
Oh, dear God, Tater, why did you have to bring this up?
Go on.
Chad Gable didn't get into pro wrestling until 2012 and 2013. That is what killed WCW, and Veggie put a point up.
Can I just say, Tater, I'm very, very disappointed in you. I've been waiting for roughly 4 hours for you to basically come out and say, no, Chad Gable killed WCW, and it's taken you this long. You're slipping.
Veggie might not know what wrestling means, but he said my wife got pregnant in 2016. I think Chad Gable had something to do with it. Oh my gosh. Gable can impregnate you just by looking at you.
Jesus Christ. Can we turn this fucking show away from Chad Gable? It's WCW.
Well, at least they're talking about WCW and why it was killed. Chad Gable killed it. Tim, we're trying to be nice to fucking Kevin Nash here, and Chad Gable's getting more damage than done. Okay. What's your point 3?
My point 3 was basically rolled into point 2, and that was Goldberg's streak ending. Booked well, you got another 6 months to a year out of it. It should have gone, arguably, like the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, to an incoming star. My pick would have been Jeff Jarrett. Had Jeff Jarrett been fucking booked properly, which he wasn't. That's my point 4, but I'll get on to that in a minute. And why would you kill your star? Why would you basically take a massive dump on your biggest talent and then just leave your future with nothing? They built Goldberg up to be this indomitable fucking monster who no one could beat, no one could get through. And then old egotistical Kevin Nash comes in and goes, oh fuck it, I'll beat him. And that was it. Done. Heat gone, interest gone. What was that? NWO was lagging by this time.
Goldberg was almost the only thing that was booked correctly in WCW.
Right up to that point, Logan.
Yeah, and then it died, and then Vince bought WCW.
Exactly. Goldberg. I'm not going to say he could have saved it, but Goldberg winning.
Sting could have saved that shit.
Maybe. I mean, let's be honest. WCW were running on a bevy of old stars and WCW stars, and Sting still had it in him, yet he didn't have the will anymore. Once he saw what was happening to WCW, I think he just lost the will to give it his best.
I agree.
Sting in 2000. I know this shit goes back before 2000. The problems were there, like we've already said. But Sting in 99, 2000 was the Randy Orton of today. Like, his heart wasn't in it anymore.
I don't think his heart wasn't in it anymore, but I think he just saw the future. Then like he saw it coming. I think a lot of the guys did, and I think that's what killed it, because you could tell a lot of the talent was just like I know it's gonna happen eventually. It's just when, and then bam, out of nowhere on a day that they didn't even know until they got there that Vince bought WCW. So
yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that, but I would say that if Sting's heart was in it, like any wrestler, if I was Sting and my heart was still in the business and I still wanted to fight for WCW survival, there's no fucking way I'd have agreed to do that shit he did with Vampiro. Like, what quicker way to kill off people's perception of you being a legend than to, I'll do a Human Torch match with Vampiro. And for me, Vampiro wasn't even fucking good. It was just looked like a modern day version of Sting, which is why they put the two together. So for me, I'm glad we disagree on something, Logan, because it's not going to be another one of them shows where we go, yeah, we agree with everything.
No, but Tater Snake has a good point. He says Sting's heart wasn't in it. He didn't care, but he was still over more than 95% of the roster.
Oh yeah, I'd agree with that. But his heart definitely wasn't in it. I think
and I'm guessing people disagree with me a lot because, hey man, Nice Shot says Sting had it in him. Insert Beavis and Butthead laugh. Somebody really doesn't like my comment for once.
Oh my god.
Well, I hope, like, my opinion that Sting had it. Sting had his heart in it, like I said, but I think a lot of the talent just saw what was coming, and that's, that could have been in his mind. You never know.
I mean, it could have been, but I mean, you also can't forget on that front that by that point, Sting was basically riding on legacy alone. He wasn't having good matches. They weren't booking him in any good storylines or matches. The character and Steve Borden as a person were riding on history and what he'd done before this.
Well, at least the only positive about WCW, well, there's many of them, but I think one of them is that at least they got the Cruiserweight division right. Compared to WWE.
I mean, compared to WWE, it was fucking Steamboat Flair every week. But then again, you had people in WWE like Taka Michinoku. I think WWE's Cruiserweights in '98, what there was left of them in '99, 2000. Dean Malenko did a lot for that Cruiserweight division in 2000. It was a light heavyweight division then, I know. But for argument's sake, we'll call them Cruiserweights. I just think WWE's Cruiserweights compared to WCW's Cruiserweights were lost in the shuffle of the Attitude Era.
Oh, most
WWE.
definitely.
You are?
Most definitely.
Yeah. WWE were more focused on titties and arse and Austin, and that fucking awful Ministry of Darkness that they made The Undertaker do. As where WCW with their Cruiserweights, even though people Travis bashed them for just doing 6-man tags, I think they booked them better than WWE did, and they gave them a tiny bit more attention than WWE gave theirs, which is what made matches like Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio so interesting, even before they'd stepped in the ring.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Do you have a like a fourth or?
I have 11. I have 11 points on this list, Logan.
There's no way in hell I got 11. No way in hell.
I told you I was at this shit for an hour and a half.
Oh my god.
Do you want me to do a few of mine and then you throw yours in so you don't run out before the end?
Go ahead and just throw all yours out there because I'm all out.
Fair enough. Jeff Jarrett should have been booked.
Yes.
Jeff Jarrett should have been booked better than he was. He got a bad rep, Jarrett, I know, in the business. After Owen Hart died, he didn't want to be with WWE anymore. I've heard stories that he did everything he could to be released from the company. But saying that, Jeff Jarrett was a good heel, and WCW could have built their brand towards the end around Jeff Jarrett better than they did. They brought him in, and instead of
Travis is in the chat. Before we keep going, I have to mention this. He says, "By booked better, you mean nowhere near a main event, I hope."
Bye, Travis. Fuck off. I love Jeff Jarrett.
Fuck off.
Sorry, Travis. Love you. You know that.
Oh Jesus, I'm done. Every show that I do, it's like, come on, man. At least I'm the only one laughing. Well, Matt's laughing, but I'm the one laughing everywhere. If Jeff Jarrett hit midgets with a guitar on every edition of Nitro, the company would be alive today.
Oh my god.
Oh.
How can you say that, you Philistine? Jeff Jarrett was a solid worker. Jeff Jarrett was a good heel. I just think he revelled too much in the perks of what WCW gave him. You know, like he came in and they made him almost immediately a top heel instead of building him up. You know, he wasn't ready. And sorry, Jeff, you weren't. He'd been a mid-carder all his life, apart from in the USWA, you know, when his father was running it and booking it. Mm-hmm. He'd been a mid-carder forever. He wasn't ready for a main event spot. He needed a year and a half of solid build, you know, before he even touched the WCW World title. But they didn't give him that.
Travis.
And oh, come on, Travis! I don't even want to know what the comment is, but I know it's going to be.
But they tried to book him like Lou. I can't even talk because I'm laughing. They tried to book him like Lou Thez. LOL.
You know, no one here in the chat, or even you, Logan, can disagree that Jeff Jarrett is solid in the ring. Come on. Maybe not in '99 when, you know, he clearly had enough of it, but in his later years, Jeff Jarrett in TNA, he was a solid wrestler, and honestly, for me, he was a really good Intercontinental Champion.
Why didn't Colin come on this so he could talk China?
Oh, fucking hell. Colin's match of 1999, China versus Jeff Jarrett.
Travis says, I'm not even being that funny, Logan. Stop overselling it, but it's so funny. Because it's true. And, oh, jeez, I'm not even going to read it, Tater. No, I'm not reading that.
Is it about Chad Gable?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck Chad Gable. Right.
Chad Gable versus Jeff Jarrett for Starrcade 18. Oh, Travis says he was a damn good IC champion. I agree.
Thank you very much. Right. My next points are probably like really quick. I'll just rattle them off. Taking wrestlers, good wrestlers like Mike Awesome, and giving them fucking stupid gimmicks instead of just, you know, keeping them and letting them wrestle. That didn't help. They relied too much on former WWE stars and not homegrown stars. They shit on the WCW title at the end, whether they cared about it or not, with Arquette and Russo as champion. The finger poke of doom helped kill it off. They concentrated far, far too much on, you know, old hands like the Steiners, Luger, Savage. What the fuck was Savage taking in 1999? You know?
Probably what you were saying about Jeff Jarrett with perks.
Exactly. You know, they should have been concentrating on men like Booker T instead. I think even when Booker T won the world title, he was still overshadowed by everything that was going on with the company. You know, I'm convinced they only put the title on Booker T because not only did they have no one else, but they had a misguided hope that, you know, bringing up I'm not going to say a young talent because he wasn't. He'd been in the company a while, but bringing up a star who had gone through, you know, the system of tag teams, then mid-card titles, would sort of bring viewers back, and it didn't. It got overshadowed by everything else.
Yes.
They had meaningless matches, stupid matches, like I've just mentioned with the Human Torch match. Pay-per-views were completely meaningless. They had nothing to them. You know, we'll get on. I've got a bit about that later when we get on to the rebuild. And that's about it. We've already said about Russo and how he could have helped build another Austin character, but didn't. And so they're all my points on why WCW died.
Good points, by the way. And Travis says, holy shit, hi Veggie, how are you, bud? He says, hello, I'm good, how you doing? And the response after that was, taking a break from editing and listening to Matt hate Gable.
I didn't actually know we were reading out all of the chat as part of the show, but fair enough.
Wow, Tater didn't respond to the Gable comment. He said Human Torch match was goddamn money. At least, he said, at least $25.
That's true.
Travis says Vampiro could have been money for real.
He could have, but they didn't book him right. And, I mean, it might have just been me, but I got the impression that he was just a modern day Sting ripoff. I mean, that was just me. That was just me.
Maharaja.
Fuck Maharaja. Sorry, Colin. You're not here, but...
Good. I'm glad. Well, not glad, because Colin's awesome sometimes. I said sometimes.
Yes. Now.
Ooh, Tater. That's hashtag needs more graveyard matches. Oh, Tater. I'm convinced Matt just hates all professional wrestlers.
I do not hate all professional wrestlers. I just hold a high standard, and WCW did not meet that standard in any way, shape or form within the last few years of its life.
Yeah.
I hate Chad Gable, but not all wrestlers.
Why don't you just join us, sir? You know the WCW. I think you would be better off coming on and talking with us on this, if you want. If you're busy and going to do some stuff, don't worry. No problem. Tater Snake says, hi, Standard. Who are your favorite grapplers?
You mean wrestlers, but I won't pick him up for that. Ric Flair, all-time greatest. Even better than Chad Gable. Bret Hart, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Ricky Steamboat.
Signing off.
Sorry?
I said signing off as a joke.
Okay. Everyone I grew up with, really. Who are yours, Logan? Who are your favourite But before we come back to this WCW, who are your favourite wrestlers of all time?
I wouldn't say wrestlers. I'll throw in some of my favourite grapplers was Chris Benoit, even though we're probably not supposed to say that.
No, it's fair. He still remains one of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time. And can we stop saying grapplers, please? It makes it sound...
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Chris Benoit.
Okay.
Kurt Angle.
Mm-hmm.
For my favorite wrestlers, Stone Cold. For some reason, I was a big Goldberg fan when I was younger. But that was when I was younger, so...
You've learned since.
I've definitely learned since. Ric Flair. Ricky Steamboat, most definitely.
Yes.
And I was a big, huge mark for Roddy Piper. And Dusty Rhodes, so when they both passed away, I was devastated, so...
Yeah.
Tater says, I can't even say grapplers without getting shit from Matt. God.
Fuck grapplers. Fuck Chad Gable. There you go.
Travis says, Dino Bravo.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. Where would you get your top 5? Watch Mojo? ?
Watch Mojo. Does he mean Mojo Rawley?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Please don't be Mojo Rawley. If Mojo Rawley actually wrestled for WCW, we would be blaming him for ruining professional wrestling and WCW.
Probably true. Everyone looks for someone to blame, I suppose.
And Tater just did his very first quote of the day. Fuck grapplers and fuck Chad Gable. Matt hates wrestling.
I didn't. This is what 29 years of being a fan does to you.
And then Travis says, it's a sight, LOL. Matt, you need to turn that volume down, sir.
I do. I'm sorry, I'm getting text from...
Or it's your vibrator, either one.
Yeah, it's my vibrator. I'll pull it out and use it later.
Jesus God,
I've got Chad coming round, so I'll save it for him.
Tater says Matt is very sheltered. Yeah, he will definitely be very sheltered with that vibrator later. But
oh my
anyways, I guess let's throw in the interaction questions of the day, since Travis is in the chat, so he can actually hear the question and the answer.
Okie dokie. Well, for those who don't know, we sent out I sent out a tweet earlier to ask people like the same questions that we've been going through. What killed WCW? What do you think could, start that again? What do you think could have saved it? And we got a few responses, and let me just pull these responses up, and we will read them out.
Okay, while you pull them out, I'm done. Hey man, nice shot, just killed the chat. Was Chris Benoit in WCW? Question mark. Big fan of what he did outside the ring.
Oh my god.
Travis says, I like this guy, and Tater's laughing and said, Jesus.
A family man then. Right.
Tater says he's a sick fuck good man. And Travis says, you mean he was a wrestler? LOL.
Do I have permission to ignore these comments?
No, you have to respond to them, sir. You know what? After that comment, hey man, nice shot, you're getting a wrench, sir. You're gonna be a moderator for the channel for those comments.
Right, are we ready to read out these tweets?
Go ahead, sir. Whenever you're
Okay,
ready.
well, the first reply we had was from Tater himself. He said, the top brass were a bunch of hapless fools, and those above them couldn't give two jacks with a side of shit about wrestling. Then the AOL merger happened, and then Vice Chairman of dumb fuckery Jamie Kellner decided to cancel all wrestling shows on his network. Life sucks. What do you think about that comment, Logan?
Hashtag correct.
Yeah, I mean, there was more to blame than the Vice Chairman cancelling. But I think it certainly didn't help. It was like WCW. They couldn't. WCW, fucking shut up. ECW. They couldn't find a channel after 2000, so it slowly declined for them as well. I think it's fascinating that everyone's got their own view of what killed WCW, and yet nobody's wrong. Because there was so much shit going on that everything contributed in the end.
I agree on that.
Next tweet was from Travis. He said, Hogan versus Sting Starrcade finish, pointless cruiserweight 6-man matches, a rigid streamlined booking style as opposed to Crash TV. A lot of seeds were already sprouting before Russo even signed with WCW and Jay Leno. They could never have competed with a company who were allowed to do Suck It and Steve Austin in 1998. Only ECW may have had a chance, but they never had the budget for it. And it goes to show you how you can have all the money and talent in the world on your roster, but if the matches mean nothing, no one will watch. Kind of like modern WWE. I feel like if DDP were allowed to use language like Steve Austin, it could have been a different ballgame. Sometimes all it takes is one T-shirt. And you know what? I'd agree with that.
Wow.
I'd agree with we haven't talked about DDP yet.
Who was so good in WCW.
He was excellent. He surprised everyone, from coming in as a jobber to world champion. That's a story right there.
And the story that, I heard about DDP, about, oh, crap, what? Oh my gosh, my head is exploding.
He's drawn the blank, ladies and gentlemen. On live.
Go ahead, Matt, what you were going to say, and I'll come back to it.
Oh, well, I was going to say, Travis has an excellent point, because WCW could have had their own Steve Austin in DDP. But just didn't see the potential. I'm pretty sure when DDP hit the big time, Bischoff was in charge. Hogan had his ear. I'm pretty sure both of them saw DDP as too old, even though Hogan, and they saw DDP as probably not a proper professional wrestler. And I think that's what's sort of killed DDP's chances of being the next Steve Austin. But then, of course, you got stupid shit like, putting him in that ridiculous storyline with David Arquette, having him turn on DDP, costing him the title. And when an actor costs you the title, then you pretty much look, as weak as Chad Gable's offense.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep going so nobody hears that.
I'm just throwing shots for the sake of it now. I actually think Chad Gable's pretty talented. Go on.
I thought the stories that DDP mentioned about what Dusty Rhodes did for him back in WCW and all them was just awesome as well. I just thought, the Hall of Fame speech that he did, it brought a lot of emotion out from WCW.
It did.
And I got to admit though, DDP was very, very good in WCW, and I think if done right towards the end and never had anything to do with David Arquette, we would be speaking about a bigger Hall of Famer than what they have given him.
Exactly. I would agree with that. And can I just pick up your point about Dusty Rhodes? Yeah. I've never been a Dusty Rhodes Booker fan. When he had the book in 87, 88 in Crockett Promotions, I've never been a fan of that era of booking. He was biased towards some wrestlers, but if DDP had have been solely in charge I've lost it tonight. If Dusty Rhodes had have been in charge of DDP's career, like from beginning to end, if DDP had have had like the sole say, I've done it again. I've saying DDP and I mean Dusty Rhodes. If Dusty Rhodes had have had sole control over DDP's career and sort of distanced him from Russo and every other moron who took over, then I think DDP would have been a bigger star. I think Dusty Rhodes had the knowledge. He didn't have the power because of other things that went on backstage, but Dusty Rhodes had the nous, he had the knowledge, and he obviously had the passion for Diamond Dallas Page to make him immortal in wrestling.
Sassy is in the chat, by the way.
Hi Sassy, welcome. What are your thoughts on that, Logan? I mean,
I can agree with 100% on what you had to say.
Thank you very much, my good sir. I've actually got one more tweet from Travis, who had to add onto his other tweets. He said, "I know you love them, but I know how asinine was it to have Kiss close a Nitro or any band? When has a musical act during a wrestling show ever worked? They did this all the God, though usually it was awful country music acts. I remember Hog Wild 96 was main evented by a concert. I think we should all forget Hog Wild 96 was main evented by a concert because it was rubbish. Rad Zero, if you're listening, Rad, hi. He said too many to name, but definitely Billionaire Ted losing ownership with the AOL Time Warner merger, causing constant turnover of leadership in the process. Eric Bischoff lost creative control. I'd agree with that. I mean, I think Bischoff, like I said, shit the bed with NWO before he lost control. But I think maybe he had the backing of Ted Turner to pull it back had he stayed. A good friend of mine, Cody Brooks, he said basically letting the inmates run the asylum. I don't think we can disagree with that.
No. Especially Kevin Nash.
Exactly. I mean, we've already been through that. If you're gonna shit on your own doorstep, as we say in England, by putting, and let's be honest about Kevin Nash. We've already lost the interview with him, Logan. So fuck him. It wasn't. Sorry.
It wasn't my fault.
It was mine. I fucked this show right up tonight. Kevin Nash was a known egotist. in wrestling, especially by the point that, you know, he got the book and Bischoff put so much fucking faith in him booking shows and matches and main events that he didn't belong in, let's be fair, in 98 and 99. Why would you put a known egotist, Logan? Somebody who you plainly know has only got his own welfare and his friends' welfare in mind. Why would you put him like in charge of a Goldberg match? Why would you put him in charge of anything?
I don't know. That's a very, very good question.
And where the fuck was Ted Turner while his company was hemorrhaging money and creative ideas? I mean, he just threw check after check after check at Eric Bischoff and said, "Oh, just keep doing what you've been doing." Surely he looked at his product once in a while. You know, Ted Turner was meant to be a fan of wrestling, so surely he watched one Monday night and thought, "What the actual fuck is going on here?"
Yeah, exactly.
But apparently not. Apparently Ted Turner didn't give a shit about WCW. He just kept pumping money into it. Oh, and Travis said, "Screaming Norman for the Hall of Fame." I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. And Timothy Hardesty, hi Timothy, said, if by WCW World Championship Wrestling, I believe Ted Turner sold out to Vince McMahon for whatever his reasons were. I mean, he sold out because I'm going to use it again. You know, he'd shit the bed with the company. He'd lost control. He'd lost care, just like everyone in the company had. So, thank you for everyone who responded. Hope we did you justice by reading your tweets out. And we'll have to do that again, Logan. We'll have to do that again.
Yes, we will. Because it was very good questions.
Exactly. And excellent responses.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Especially Travis. Especially the Hall of Fame.
The sad thing is that they're going to put Norman Smiley in the Hall of Fame when they run out of people. You know, he works for them in the Performance Centre, so I believe. So, he's a shoo-in for 2019 or 2020.
Don't come.
And he's gonna come on, Logan, that Hall of Fame stage, and he's gonna do his fucking screaming demon act.
Yeah, probably. Yep, I can see. By the way, thank you, Tater, for joining us in the chat. He's got to go do a couple things, but thank you once again.
Thank you, Tater.
But thank you once again.
Yes. Do we have any more comments in the chat to read out, Logan? Relevant ones, could I say?
Or... No, we're good. We're good.
No? Shall we move on to how we would have saved WCW, or how we think WCW should have been saved / resurrected?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do our last segment of the night for this show, and then next week I'll be doing a tweet out to what show we will be doing our opinions on.
Yes. I'm quite looking forward to reviewing old WCW shows.
Me too.
And do you know what? I'm going to let you start this section, Logan, because I feel like I've been talking way too much.
No, not really. But what could have saved WCW is basically everything that we said that killed WCW. Everything.
Oh my god.
But if you wanted to do a specific one, I would say what would have helped and saved WCW is just not allowing the heart to die. As you would say.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. It lost its heart. There was nothing left but a dripping, bloody hole where the heart and soul used to be.
Yeah.
I've done pointers, but I mean, most of them cover what you've just said, because You know, I've put, you know, stuff like make the younger stars count. I know factions in WCW towards the end were plentiful, but why not just try another 4 horsemen with 4 young men and Ric Flair, who was doing nothing at the time. You weren't using him right as their manager. You know, just imagine what they could have learned from him.
Man, can you imagine the talent that could have been fixed? And
Exactly.
The talent made.
Exactly. Like you had a wealth of talent on that roster. So many, you know, so many that you weren't using. You were just putting on Thunder and whatever fucking other programs WCW had at the time. They slipped my mind now. But you know, you wasted this talent when you could have tried Logan. You know, there was absolutely nothing to stop them trying. They were trying everything else. They were throwing everything else on left, right, and centre. And maybe that's something that could have stuck. You know, we have a saying in England. You might have it in America as well. You throw enough shit at the wall and something sticks.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
just try it. Just try. You're done anyway. You know, you're losing money. No one wants to watch you anymore. Just try it. It wouldn't have hurt.
No, I don't think anything would have hurt to at least try to save it. Nothing. Well,
Exactly.
well, continuing the bad booking, yes, but
Apart from continuing the bad booking, anything was worth a try.
oh, anything. I mean, not having Kevin Nash defeat Goldberg, that's one.
Exactly. Yeah, we could go down a list of things that you should have tried to do or not to do, but I know we're on a limited time here, so I've got product being too tame. They could have made it more like, I'm not going to say copy the Attitude Era, but Travis has covered that point.
Yeah.
Fight fire with fire. You were too tame. You were too much like the territorial regions in a way at the end, where nothing really mattered other than maybe 3 or 4 big stars.
Yeah. Yeah, and another thing to say is what we mentioned in the beginning. What killed WCW was the NWO and not doing what they did. And at least you should learn from your mistakes by trying to fix the booking.
Yes.
And I don't think anybody even attempted that.
No, they didn't. And I'll tell you what, there must have been some ego on Vince Russo to come in and think that he really could have saved it all on his own.
No.
That's like the Titanic sinking and, I don't know, one lifeguard jumping on board and thinking, I can bring the ship back up.
Mm-hmm. Because nobody was going to bring that ship back up. It was the Titanic.
Titanic.
Whatever.
You're right. And if he was to have performed that miracle, Logan, he would have needed a team of, I don't know even how many talented people, and he didn't have it. He wasn't interested in it. He just wanted the people he knew around him. And look what happened.
Nothing happened.
Exactly. Apart from the end of WCW.
Yeah.
But again, not all Russo's fault.
No, not by a long shot.
Do you have a third point?
My third point would probably have to be the fact that the booking of DDP and stuff like that as well. But if you wanted to mention another person besides the people that we mentioned that killed, why not? DDP never killed WCW.
No.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying maybe too much too soon and trying to defeat WWE.
Yes, I think they were on a high after they beat him in the ratings, and I think adding to the too much too soon thing, I think they definitely got complacent with their product. They thought they were untouchable, and they weren't.
They thought because of all the ratings that we're doing because of NWO, it's going to continue like that. It can't continue like that as long. It can continue like that as long as you don't, overexpose something, and that's everything.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, in the end, I think for Eric Bischoff and his team, and Russo and his team, I think it got toxic in the end. You know, the constant trying to outdo Vince McMahon when you weren't going to. You know, the constant pressure they placed themselves under to do it week in and week out. I think it poisoned them in the end.
They got poisoned, and it couldn't be resurrected, and it couldn't be fixed, it couldn't be anything, and it's a sad situation to even think of. Yeah.
It was, and do you know what? Vince McMahon could have tried when he bought it, but even Vince McMahon, I think, knew it was beyond. You know what I mean? The damage to the reputation had been done, so even he didn't want to try.
The damage was done, and he knew.
Exactly. Another point: scale down the roster and shows. You know, we've been saying this about Raw for, you know, X knows how long.
Yeah.
They packed them with crap. You know, you look at a Nitro episode. There was a lot of deadwood on it, and I know they had time to fill. I know they had sponsors to please, but at the end of the day, and this is my gripe about Raw, WWE call it entertainment. There was probably a bit of that in Vince Russo as well. And Eric Bischoff, of course. But at the end of the day, it's still a wrestling show.
Yep.
Make it about the wrestling. If they'd have cut away the crap, got rid of the wrestlers who couldn't perform. Yeah, they had a power plant, WCW, a training centre. Why not cherry pick the best out of that to replace the old guard who couldn't do it anymore? Pack the show with wrestling. You don't even need 20 storylines. You just need decent wrestling. Look how well NXT in the modern day has done with just pure wrestling. Not all of them matches on NXT television have a storyline to them. They're just good wrestling.
Good wrestling and very good booking and stuff like that. And it's got a different feel, and WCW did not have that towards the end. The heart died. It couldn't be like the heart couldn't be resurrected. It couldn't be the function
resuscitated.
Yes, the function just kept slowly dying, and there was nobody that could. As we said this earlier, who could have saved it? There was nobody. I don't think.
Exactly. WCW was terminal. It was always going to die after a while, I think.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah, and another thing that hurt it, Logan, was it was building for a while. It was not booking non-NWO stars to be as big or as strong as NWO stars. I know they did it with Goldberg, and to an extent they did it with Sting. But other names are very few and very far between who actually went up against the NWO and looked good. WCW did this thing in the 97 to 99 where they basically raped their roster of any credibility because no one was looking better than the NWO.
No, and the people that was not in the NWO was also getting booked badly as well.
So. Exactly. And it was either stay out of the picture, the NWO picture, or you joined the NWO, which is why in the end we got 62 stars because they had nothing else to do with them.
62 stars in a barren old box. Oh
God.
Yeah, at some point down the line that it died, and some people wish it was fixed, and can you imagine the stuff that could have happened if they would have kept going and stuff like that? But
yeah,
oh, man.
I mean, I think had they kept going, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure it could have kept going, Logan. You know, even as a minor company like the NWA have, I don't think it could have got to a point where people went, do you know what? I'm going to give it another chance. Because sometimes the damage, you know, really is done once and for all. You know, sometimes there is no going back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and WCW did the damage. They did so much damage. Like, even like, look, the rest of this list, finishers, book better finishes. It's not rocket science. How many fucking count out run-ins, disqualifications did you get in a monthly, you know, span in WCW television? Way too many. Wait a minute, they didn't use the stars they had really to their advantage. You had Bret Hart, didn't know what to do with him. You know, you had Chris Benoit. You made him languish in the middle card until you let him win the title the night he walked out of the company. Well, it's too late. It's too late to use that. You know, Kurt Hennig, to a degree, still had it in him in 1998. You know, he couldn't do what he did against Bret Hart at SummerSlam 91. But he was still a good talent. A lot of people could have learned a lot of things from him. You know, so you make him a country and western star. Well done. Rey Mysterio, kept far too long in the cruiserweight division. Could have been a main event star in WCW. Wasn't. I've already said about Booker T being overshadowed by, you know, other people. So they didn't use the stars they already had to their advantage. Bringing in characters, Logan, ridiculous WWE 1995-esque characters, and I don't know whether you remember this one. I'm sure Travis does. I'm sure if we've got anyone else in the chat who was a fan of wrestling in the 90s, you'll remember Seven. And this was Dustin Rhodes, who was annoyed with wrestling, who was done with his Goldust character. He jumped to WCW, and what do? They paint him white, they put him in a top hat, they put him in a big cloak, and they basically make him a pedophile. So brilliant, you know, just
brilliant booking right there, sir.
There's another nail hammered in the coffin. Way too many big moments happened on TV and not pay-per-view. You know, reverse it. It's not rocket science. Goldberg beat Hogan for the title on Nitro. Well, you know, that's several million lost right there in revenue and, you know, viewers. If that had happened at Starrcade, regardless of if they had a 15-minute shitstorm, people would have paid for that pay-per-view to see Goldberg win. But they gave that away. You know, didn't see that. Now, the next one is something people are going to go, oh no, I wouldn't have done that. But, bear with me. Imagine, I mean, NWO, we've covered enough tonight, Logan. But, they were on their way out anyway, okay? The NWO was dying. Why not use the death of the NWO to your advantage? Craft a storyline around it where Nash takes control of the whole group, kicks Hulk Hogan out of the NWO. Hulk Hogan then reverts to babyface Hulk Hogan. Whether you'd put him in the yellow trunks or whatever, again, it doesn't matter. He then builds a team of younger stars around him, and then takes on the NWO in a 10-man tag team main event at Starrcade, and Hogan pins Nash to end the NWO. That would have been a much better ending for that group, to be killed off by the man who started it.
Exactly. Wow.
Instead of just to fade away, you know. And sorry for talking so much. I've got 2 more points, and I'll rattle them off quick. Don't devaluate the titles. In 2000, the World Heavyweight title changed hands 26 times.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Vacated 6 times. 7 reigns lasted, I think it was a day or less. 14 of those reigns lasted 2 weeks. So, right there, you've killed off any credibility your main title had. Another nail in the coffin. No one cares about it anymore, and therefore no one cares about main events, and therefore no one cares about your pay-per-views. So automatically you've just killed off 3 points. And in the end, there was no leadership, Logan. I'm not going to sit here and say he should have been in charge or he should have been in charge. I've heard some people over the years say Hulk Hogan should have been, in complete charge, because he was in Eric Bischoff's ear anyway. What harm could it have done? But whoever you think should have been in charge, there should have been a clear, definitive leader, and there wasn't in the end. And
There wasn't.
I've talked too much. It's your turn.
Well, every point that you've come up with and mentioned is 110% correct on in certain aspects, and everything was just correct. Like there's so many title reigns that should not have happened. There's you said 6 vacates.
Yeah, 6 vacations of the title in 2000.
Jesus, Jesus.
When you think about it, it's baffling, isn't it? Like, there wasn't one person in that locker room who had the common sense just to say, the longer someone's champion, the more credibility we'll have, and possibly the more viewers we'll get, when he loses it on pay-per-view.
Yep.
Not one fucking person did that.
No, not at all. So the WCW died because it just got sloppier and sloppier. Title reign should not have happened, like we've mentioned. Jesus, you said 2000?
26 alone in 2000. In a span of January to December 2000, there were 26 title changes.
Brock Lesnar should have been in that company.
Well, he couldn't have made it any worse. Let's put it that. But I mean, if we're being honest, Logan, like, WCW may have gone out of business in 2001, but it died a long time before that.
Way long.
It was the zombie of wrestling, just ambling along until somebody fucking put a bullet through its head.
Yep.
And do you know what? That's all I've got left to say on WCW, because
let's go ahead and end it on bullet in the head.
Yeah. Vince McMahon was the man. Vince McMahon was the Rick Grimes of WWE.
Yep. Rick, wow. That you had to mention. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our very first episode of Monday Night Mayhem is up and finished. You guys have been great in the chat. Nobody else is watching him, so...
Are we alone? Is that it?
We were alone for a couple minutes, but don't worry. Next week on Monday Night Mayhem, we will be giving our opinions on one of the shows. I will be tweeting it out later tonight. Actually, we'll go from number 1 of Nitro, the very first Nitro.
Yeah.
So we'll stick with that.
I mean, we could, if we're going to do a poll, we could, go back further than that, because some of the early 90s stuff is really good, but, I know a lot of people jumped on during the Attitude Era of wrestling, so maybe we're better off sticking with, 96 onwards, or 95 even.
Yeah, let's do that. But, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Monday Night Mayhem with me and Matt Tennant. Matt, go ahead and sign yourself off and where they can check you out at.
You can find me, and please give me a follow on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant, and hop over to the Hibiki TMD to give me and Travis a listen on Union Smack. You will not regret it, he says.
Agreed. And you guys can check me out on Twitter, as always, at LoganMyers144. This has been Monday Night Mayhem. Next week, we will be jumping time. I'll be announcing me and Matt's going to talk about it. We will be announcing the very first show that we will be talking about Good night, ladies and gentlemen.